Good afternoon, Chairperson. Yes, we are. We have 3 members on the platform, including yourself.
Okay, so we can proceed.
We might proceed, yes.
Okay. Afternoon, sorry. Feels like it's still the morning to me. Good afternoon, honorable members and officials from the department and CASIDRA. Noted that there are obviously members of the public, and also SALCA has joined us for this proceeding. You are all welcome. Can we take just a moment to say a prayer or meditation? Thank you. Honorable members, CASIDRA is here today to present, as you have requested, that they must provide a presentation regarding their mandate in the department. So I just want to bring to your attention that, honorable members, if you want to be recognized, you are welcome to raise your hand using the option of MST, team, or you can put a video on, so if you are struggling with your gadgets. Further, I will really request that all videos and sound must remain off in order to improve the quality of the connection. Only the speakers, video, and microphone remains on. Participants must please switch off their microphone and video once they have finished speaking. I just want to also, honorable members, to bring to your attention that this session is being streamed live on YouTube. For any issues with regards to technical assistance, ICT is available to assist you. Just as an introduction, my name is Noko Masipa. I am the Standing Committee Chairperson on the portfolio of Agriculture, Economic Development and Tourism. Honorable members, I hand over to you to just introduce yourself, for record purposes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. Khalil Baranka is member of this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Derek Wessels, member of the committee.
Thank you. Professor Mbombo. It looks like she's not.
Yeah, I see Member Mbombo on the platform.
Yeah, but she seems to be not closer to the gadget. Honorable
Okay, I manage.
Okay.
Hello, I manage. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yes, hi there, Chairperson. My sincere apologies. I logged onto the other meeting by mistake. So I logged onto the education meeting, but I have now logged officially onto your meeting. So hello.
Welcome. Can you, just for record purposes, introduce yourself?
It's Dave Bryant, member of the committee.
Okay, thank you very much.
You got
Honorable
mine.
Mbombo.
You got mine. I'm a French Mbombo, permanent member of the committee.
Thank you very much. The Deputy Director General, Dade Jacobs, I hand over to you.
Good afternoon, Standing Committee members and Chair. Daryl Jacobs, Deputy Director General of the Department of Agriculture. Thank you.
Can I hand over to you to introduce your colleagues from the department and CASIDRA as well?
Well, Chair, the CEO of CASIDRA and his team will obviously introduce themselves. But I think I'm the only one from the department. I just want to check that, if you don't mind, Chair. Yeah, it looks like yeah, in support of the of CASIDRA. And if I can now hand straight over to Dr. Keith du Plessis, the Chief Executive Officer of CASIDRA, to introduce himself and his entire delegation. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, DDG. Keith du Plessis, CEO of CASIDRA. And with me, Chairperson, if I may, I have the CFO, Freek van Zyl. I have the Chief Program Officer, David Neft. And I've got our Human Capital Manager, Loni Seconds, in the call, Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hand over back to you, Dade Jacobs, to proceed with the presentation.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Again, there was a presentation that was prepared by the CEO and his team from CASIDRA. And if I can ask Dr. du Plessis if he can flight the presentation and then talk to the presentation. And again, thank you for the opportunity for CASIDRA to share what they were not able to share at the briefing that the department had with the committee a few weeks ago. Thank you, Chairperson. I hand straight back to Dr. du Plessis through you.
Thank you.
Dr. du Plessis, you can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And again, thank you, DDG.
You're welcome. Apologies. You are welcome to put the video on.
Okay, Chair, if you can just help me, just allow me to just sort that out quickly. Camera on. You can just tell me if you can see me. Because if I now put the presentation on, I won't be able to see myself, and also I won't be able to see any hands, Chairperson. So if everybody can just, means you can maybe just shout if you want me to stop, and there's maybe a question from anybody. So thank you, Chairperson, and good afternoon again, honourable members. This presentation was prepared to address the questions raised by the committee following our initial meeting on 13 August 2024. So the first number of slides deals with the executive and accounting authorities, as well as the management of Casidra. I also touch on the company's mandate, including its key priorities and the scope of its operations within the province. Then I will briefly touch on the mechanisms and processes Casidra employs to carry out its mandate. Here I will talk to the methodologies for project selection, resource allocation, and monitoring and evaluation of supported initiatives. I will also touch on how the appropriate level of support for farming and rural initiatives is determined. Then I will highlight the key challenges faced by Casidra and at a high level touch on mitigation strategies, whereafter I will end off with an overview of Casidra's collaboration with other strategic stakeholders. This should then deal with the 5 questions raised with the committee in the letter that was sent on the 21st of August, Chairperson. Okay, so again, Casidra is a Schedule 3D provincial business enterprise that is wholly owned by the Western Cape government. And the shareholder representative is the Western Cape Provincial Minister of Agriculture, Economic Development and Tourism, which is at this stage Dr. Ivan Meyer. Then our accounting authority or board of directors comprises of 8 independent non-executive directors that exercise their skill, expertise, and fiduciary duties in pursuance of the objectives as set out in Casidra's corporate plan. And they need to ensure that the targets as per the corporate plan are met and monitored on a regular basis. So the board, amongst other things, is independent on all operational matters in executing the mandate of Casidra. They have full operational independence in the drawing up of Casidra's corporate plans, and they need to ensure that corporate plans are fully aligned with the stated overall objectives and policies of the executive authority. Then Casidra's management committee is in charge of the daily operations of Casidra, and the chief executive officer, which is myself, is accountable to the board. The CEO, amongst other things, is responsible for guiding the organizational strategy, managing risk, preparing annual budgets and the corporate plans, monitoring the performance and implementing good governance practices. Casidra has 94 employees, of which 29 are on the 2 farms, is in Vaikraal and Amalingstein, Little Karoo. Bulk of the staff is at our head office in Paarl, and we have 6 employees operating from our offices in George. Then Casidra's mandate, Chairperson, emanates from a cabinet resolution in 2007, which resolved that Casidra's mandate be changed to agriculture and economic development within a rural and land reform context. This cabinet resolution, together with the Companies Act and the Public Finance Management Act, the King 4 report, as well as the Shareholders Compact, provides the framework for Casidra's establishment, control, powers, function, and funding. Then maybe it's important to highlight that from this cabinet resolution, that at the time, that is now 2007, 2008 MTEV, Casidra was supposed to be funded by, let me just put on my, see if I can put on my laser pointer here, was supposed to be funded by the Department of Economic Development and Tourism and the Department of Transport and Public Works at that stage, as well as any other institution requiring the services of Casidra. And that is now for the Economic Development branch of Casidra, and then for its Agricultural Development branch, that it be funded via the Department of Agriculture. Now, times have changed, and at this stage, Casidra currently only receives funding from the Western Cape Department of Agriculture. The Shareholders Compact is a document that is signed annually between the shareholder and the accounting authority, and that compact governs the relationship between the shareholder and Casidra, and it represents the annual agreement between the shareholder of Casidra, which is the Western Cape government, and the board of Casidra, with regard to performance expectations and parameters, and sets out the obligations of the parties to ensure effective management and performance of Casidra. The shareholders' compact is concluded to comply with the PFMA and the regulations promulgated in terms thereof. The vision and mission of Casidra ties in 100% with its mandate. The company's vision is to be a catalyst for growth towards self-sustainable communities, while its mission is to maximize agricultural and economic development opportunities in rural communities through project management excellence. So this ties in 100% with the mandate of the company. Then Casidra has 4 key strategic priorities that serve as the foundation of the company's overall strategy. The successful and timely implementation of these priorities is expected to enhance service delivery, efficiency, effectiveness, and sustainability, ultimately propelling Casidra towards achieving its vision. These priorities are, number 1, sustainable funding. That is, we need to secure more funding to ensure greater impact in the communities that we serve, a world-class service delivery. So we want to be the project management company of choice, not only for the public sector, but also competing with the private sector if necessary. Then we want to promote a high-performance culture by creating a healthy and productive work environment where our employees will flourish and reach their full potential. And then lastly, we want to build an impactful stakeholder relationship with stakeholders from both the private and the public sectors. And we believe that these 4 strategic priorities will assist us in reaching our vision and ensuring that we live out our mandate. Casidra operates across the Western Cape, and this slide mainly speaks to our delivery of CASP, or the Comprehensive Agricultural Support Program, and food security projects for the Department of Agriculture. So the colors of the map on the left-hand side corresponds to the pie chart. So from the chart, you will be able to see that Casidra currently works across all the regions or districts of the province, with 29% of the CASP and food security projects that we currently deliver being within the city of Cape Town, within the metro. Then we do about 22% of our projects within the West Coast district. 12% of our projects we do in the Overberg area, with about 15% of the projects currently being implemented within the Cape Winelands area. Then we do about 10% of our projects here in the Garden Route district, with only 2% of our projects currently being implemented within the Central Karoo. And obviously this means that that we need to actually try and see how we can increase our footprint within the Central Karoo. And then there's 10% of the projects that we currently do, CASP and food security projects, that is implemented across districts. So to deliver our mandate, Casidra delivers project and procurement-related services mainly to the Western Cape Department of Agriculture. So as an example, the department would approve the implementation of a number of projects to beneficiaries across the province every year. And maybe I will in the next few slides, I will come back to this process of how these beneficiaries are selected, such as a tractor or inputs into their farming activities. Casidra will procure those inputs in line with the PFMA and Treasury regulations. So we literally do thousands of financial transactions every year, and to do so, we need to ensure that we still keep the auditors happy, and that is obviously not an easy task. So to get our 35th consecutive unqualified audit this year is testament of our commitment to clean governance. Then we also assist the department in rolling out its financial record keeping program. Here we have a team of 4 accountants, 4 bookkeepers, and 1 admin assistant that assists small farmers with tax compliancy, secretarial duties, that is now CIPC registrations, queries, and updates, and to produce monthly management accounts and yearly financial statements with these farmers, with which these farmers can then go and do funding applications. And then also we have a NCR, or National Credit Regulator license, and we are able to facilitate small short-term loans from time to time. This is not something that we do often, but it is something that we are currently doing, but for a limited number of projects. Then we deliver all these through 4 programs. Program 1 is mainly our support functions such as HR or human capital management, public relations, marketing and communications, and as well as our financial management. Then our program 2, which is then covers our the management of the farms, and also we do our comprehensive agricultural support program projects, the financial record keeping that I just spoke about, as well as support through our unit for technical assistance. We do through our program 2. Then our program 3 focuses mainly on the implementation of the food security projects that I've spoken about as well, and then we also look at providing assistance to the department with regards to disaster response and the delivery of ecological infrastructure, for example, for the stabilization of rivers, for floods. So that we do under our program 3. So basically, our program 2 and 3, we only do projects and programs for the Western Cape Department of Agriculture. Then our program 4, under our program 4, we focus on business growth and local economic development initiatives. And here we're looking at new business opportunities through the leveraging of investments from both the private and public sectors. And when we say public, we talk about everything except for the Western Cape Department of Agriculture, because anything we do for the Western Cape Department of Agriculture falls under program 2 or 3. That also emphasizes the importance of the Western Cape Department of Agriculture for us, and they will and will remain our key client going forward. Then a question was raised as to how CACIDRA determines the appropriate level of support for farming and rural initiatives, including the criteria used to decide when projects are ready to progress without further investment. Now the short answer here is that for CASP and food security projects, CACIDRA does not decide at all. However, these decisions are made by the Commodity Producer Allocation Committees, or CPACs. Now, typically a beneficiary would respond to a call for applications, and these applications are then evaluated with approval being granted through a comprehensive adjudication process. Now, the CPACs, or Commodity Producer Allocation Committees, which consists of industry experts, officials from the Western Cape Department of Agriculture, and as well as CACIDRA representatives, will evaluate projects using a scoring matrix, and they then recommend these projects to the Department Project Allocation Committee, or DPAC, for approval. And once approved by the DPAC, the funds for the approved projects are requested from National Department of Agriculture. Funds in flow ultimately to CACIDRA, as I discussed earlier in the presentation, and we then implement those projects. So instead of giving the money to the beneficiary, the funding will flow to CACIDRA and we will implement. I hope that is clear. Then with regards to projects conceptualized and initiated by CACEDRA, which is limited at this stage, it's a limited number of projects. Those projects we will do through our program 4, as I've mentioned earlier. And we have established a project evaluation committee that looks at a number of indicators to determine if the project is one that CACEDRA should get involved in. And if we're already involved in such a project, whether we should remain involved in a particular project. Now, these include things like whether there's alignment with our mandate, and whether that we are able to reasonably manage our risks, and whether we will be able to make money in the process. I think that is very important for a company, like for a Schedule 3D company, whether we will be able to make money, amongst other things. But I think one of the most important criteria is the economic and social impact of a project. As an organization that with a very strong developmental focus, improving the socio-economic conditions through our interventions is of crucial importance. And we will then score a project based on these criteria and then determine whether we should be getting involved in that project or not. And this project evaluation committee is a fairly new established committee within CACEDRA. In fact, over the past week, at the AGM, the minister also approved that we will have now a project committee that will sit at board level that will oversee projects related matters at the board level. Then, with regards to the challenges we are facing, budget constraints and linked to it, the sustainability of the business is one of our key risks. Here, our efforts to partner with the public and private sectors to access funding opportunities is gaining good momentum. As mentioned earlier, we have identified a number of opportunities through engagements with a number of partners. Then our staff works in very dangerous areas. We deliver projects in areas where many people do not want to go. And here we rely on our relationships with the community structures, as well as the Western Cape Department of Agriculture's extension officers, to ensure that we get proper information with regards to how the areas would be at a particular point in time before our staff goes in there and deliver projects. Cyber security and is a risk for us, as it is probably for most of the companies currently out there. So here we look at frequent IT awareness training, deploying security patches to servers and workstations, and perform the necessary testing on network infrastructure on a regular basis. We do report on these matters to the board on a quarterly basis. Then a major frustration, of course, is constrained budgets for farms, and then also funding for the farm turnaround plans. So to implement these turnaround plans will this obviously means that ownership of these farms needs to be cleared up as best possible. Obviously, no investor will invest in these farms if ownership and is not 100% sorted out. Then, lastly, and obviously there's obviously a lot more challenges, but I think for the benefit of time, I'd like to highlight the long lead time between project approval to the process I've mentioned earlier, and to the actual flow of funding to these projects. Now, this could, in certain cases, be even more than a year, and obviously that does have an impact on how the beneficiaries respond to when projects are actually being delivered to them at some point. So I believe that a proper engagement with stakeholders, mainly the beneficiaries, will assist in mitigating the negative impact of this challenge. Yeah, and obviously dealing with how fast funds flow from national, that is obviously something that we don't have, we don't play a role in at this stage. Then there was a question raised around the handling of input and output VAT on farmer support. There was a very specific question, so I thought I'll have a single slide just speaking to that. Now, CACIDRA does not pay output VAT to SARS on receipt of project funding received from the department. So, and what happens is that upon completion of projects and on request of project beneficiaries, CACIDRA then issues a VAT agency statement, which allows project beneficiaries then to claim back a VAT for certain assets purchased via CACIDRA. And obviously, we are open to have further discussion on this point. But I think, as simple as that, we don't pay VAT as the money comes into our specific project accounts, and then as soon as the project has been implemented, we can then issue a VAT agency statement to the beneficiaries, and they can then claim VAT back at that stage. Then partnerships and collaborations. Over the past number of years, CACIDRA has worked hard to ensure that we form strategic partnerships that will assist the company in expanding our reach. We engage companies a few times to establish whether there are alignment in terms of our mandate and what both parties are seeking to achieve, whereafter we would typically sign a memorandum of understanding where we spell out the high-level terms of our partnership. Once we identify specific projects we could work on together, we will then go into a more specific service level agreement. We have also realized that our brand is not well known out there. So even in our own town of Paarl, where we've been operating since for the past, I don't know, 20, 30 years, the community don't even know us. So we've recently partnered, for example, with a community radio station, just as an example. So it's about strategic partnerships. And then we also realized that we could do much more at local and district municipal level. And we'll obviously do a lot more to unlock more opportunities in this area. At this stage, we have agreements with Garden Route District Municipality and Mossel Bay Municipality, as well as Drakenstein Municipality. We are also engaging Cape Winelands District at this stage, as well as George Municipality. And hopefully we will have some agreements with them soon as well. Then I'd like to end off this presentation, Chairperson, by again highlighting the achievements of CACIDRA in 2023 and 24 financial year. I also want to say that it was a bonus for us to achieve a 35th consecutive unqualified audit. But on top of that, we delivered 166 community food security projects. And I think there was a question raised on what is a food security project, and we actually answered that in a separate letter. But maybe I can just mention that a food security project, or are food gardens that are being implemented by community organizations or institutions like schools, churches, and NGOs for the purpose of producing fresh crops for local consumption and to sell on the open market for income generation. Now, funding support to these projects are capped at a maximum of 200,000 Rand per project application per financial year, and this support is limited to a maximum of 3 years. Applications for funding are submitted via the district offices of the Western Cape Department of Agriculture to the Food Security CPAC, and they then consider this for approval. So that is just to speak to the question around what is a community food security project. Then, Chair, we've delivered. Last year, we've delivered more than 3,000 household food security projects. And to add to this, we we also completed almost 7,000 food community and household food security projects initiated in the years prior to 2023, 2024. We've assisted more than 4,000 small farmers in terms of training, and then for that. So all the numbers up to 2023 is audited. So CACIDRA has been, as I said, the grey bars it's a core funding received, and the blue bars indicate the value of the projects that CACIDRA has implemented over that same period. So over the past 18 years, CACIDRA has implemented these projects, these amount of projects with the core funding received. Now, if you do a simple calculation, this will highlight that over the past 18 years, CACIDRA has on average annually received 12% of the value of projects being implemented as core funding. Now, in the worst year over this period, we received a 27% fee. That was in 2007. And in the best value that the province received from CACIDRA was around 2020, when the province only paid roughly about 5.7% for the amount of projects that was delivered. Only 5.7%, if I can put that in air quotes, fee, because it's not really a fee. We receive a core funding and we implement. So what we want to say through this slide, Chair, is that this doesn't even consider the indirect and intangible value that we create through the delivery of these projects. And we believe that it would be very difficult for any other company, including private entities, to deliver this kind of value to the province of the Western Cape that CACIDRA has delivered to the province over the past almost 20 years. Then, Chair, in conclusion, CACIDRA will prioritize the delivery of the Western Cape Department of Agriculture programs and projects. It is ideally positioned to assist the Western Cape provincial departments, other than the Department of Agriculture. That also includes now DDAT, Department of Infrastructure, municipalities and agencies to deliver on their mandates through its streamlined procurement, supply chain management, and HR onboarding processes. We would be able to assist a number of these enterprises and departments to deliver on their mandates. We can deliver projects and programs of various complexities. That is now from the delivery of the whole Holsloot Weir, which is an 80 million rand project that is now, again, after the floods, proven to be very, very much assisted in terms of the flooding of the Holsloot River. And then also to the delivery of a simple project like the delivery of a tractor, for example. So various complexities we can deliver some very quickly. And then obviously, Chair, I just wanted to end up by saying this entity is definitely adding value for money, or providing value for money for the Western Cape government. And we hope and pray that we will get your continuous support as we strive to deliver on the mandate of this great organization. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, CEO. I think this was the fastest, the shortest presentation, if I have to say, from the Department of Agriculture, Economic Development and Tourism. Honorable members, I recognized Honorable, let me just make sure that I have seen her on the platform. Honorable Ngondlo on the platform. Welcome, Honorable Ngondlo. Do you mind just introducing yourself for record purposes?
Good afternoon, Chairperson and all members, together with the officials from the department. I'm Member Nkondlo, a member of this committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Nkondlo. Honorable members, I just forgotten also to note the apologies of Honorable Member Constable, as he has indicated. His child is not well, so he's attending to that. And also Minister Mayor did tender his apologies. So, honorable members, I am going to open the floor for questions of clarity seeking. Are there hands? I see Honorable Brinkhays, Honorable Nkondlo. Is that all for now? Okay, Honorable Brinkhays, the floor is yours. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, thank you very much to the department, the CEO, for that presentation. The CEO mentioned that Casidra has assisted financially more than 4,000 small farmers. Could the department indicate that how is those 4,000 doing currently? Thank you very much, Chair.
Honorable Brinkhays, your line is quite bad. Do you mind repeating your question?
Chairperson, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible now.
Chairperson, I was asking the department in regard to the 4,000 small farmers that they were assisting. How well are those 4,000 small farmers? How well are they doing in terms of their business, running their business? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Brinkhays. Honorable Nkondlo.
Thank you, Chair. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you, Chairperson. I've got three questions. The first one, I think, relates to what one would have picked up in the quarterly performance report of Casidra. I think the CEO did refer to this, of some of the projects that have not been implemented or delayed due to funds. And one, when I look at, I think one of their reports, they indicate that if there is a graph, they even mention that some of the projects go as far as 2021-2022 financial year. So if the CEO can just explain what exactly is the situation with this particular projects. You know, there are delays which has taken this long, and what's the impact, if any, on those particular projects that they are, still regarded, as projects that are still not complete. That's my first question. Then my second question, Chair, is on the food gardens that Casidra is implementing on behalf of the department. I'm trying to understand whether for these projects, for these households specifically, and what do you call them, subsistence farmers, is there an assessment that gets to be done before the food garden project gets to be implemented, and a post assessment that is done on these projects to determine the before and after, and actually when you say or make the claim that these food gardens are helping food security, whether such a claim can actually be traced. So I'm trying to understand the before and after, and if indeed those sort of assessments, scientific evidence can actually be provided, of any of these projects or households that are part of this. And then the last one, I think I just want to understand from CASIDRA as an implementer of projects, and I think the CEO speaks about the value addition of projects, the number of projects that they do, whether it's purchasing, some implements and all of that. I'm interested to know, in the budget that you get from the provincial government to implement this project, what is your project cost to implement as such? Because obviously, or I'm assuming, if not, please correct me, I'm assuming that you do this at a fee or at some cost to yourselves to actually implement these on behalf of the department. So what is the average project cost that CASIDRA, would be taking from the budget, before the actual project gets to the beneficiary themselves? You can make an example by any of the projects that you are doing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members. I also have got a couple of questions. CEO, I hope you don't mind that we just provide you with the questions, and then you'll have enough time to provide us with the answers. The institution, as far as I'm concerned, is to support, obviously, economic development, in particular, rural development. I do note that you are also participating in the city of Cape Town, which is a metro. That is welcome. But I think the question for me is that since we have got, at national level, the branch of rural development as such, what is your relationship with that particular branch? Because I think they have got obviously also bigger budget that I do believe that you can tap into in terms of really fulfilling your mandate of ensuring that you support the rural economy and, deliver the services to those that require that kind of services in terms of rural development. The other question that I have got, you noted in your slide that you have got, in terms of your staff, that you have got officials in areas like Amaliestin, about 16, and Vaikra. I just want to understand what are are this the farms, or are this your offices or institution that you have got? In which region are they? Are they in the West Coast? Are they in the East region? If you can maybe assist me there. The other point you made was that you are funded through a full cost recovery mechanism. Just maybe explain that to me so that I can really understand what a full cost recovery mechanism really entails. How do you do that? And I think that will talk obviously to Honorable Gond's question regarding your costing to the project and each project as such. And also you spoke about the sustainable fund. At the moment, in as far as I'm concerned, there's two streams of funding. One is that you've got NCR license that you can obviously, lend money out, and then obviously ensure that your clients do pay back. But the other stream is obviously getting the money from the Department of Agriculture. So the question is, which other area have you been looking at in terms of really getting more funding? Funding is sustainable. If you can really assist the portfolio committee in that regard. One other point you made in one of your slides, you did gave us a breakdown of CASP and food security project distribution. I would have loved to see if you can break down what are the CASP, what are the food security projects in that breakdown, just to see where you are really literally fighting hunger and where you are supporting, let's say, with the CASP, you support obviously the emerging farmers, just to see that breakdown so that, when we do oversight, because we have in Beaufort West, the cabinet was there, I wasn't there, and members of the opposition were also invited. But my understanding and the feedback is that poverty is quite bad. And if I look at your presentation, is that Beaufort West actually received less. And that is where basically, the need is very high. If you can really maybe just provide me with the idea of what is the percentage that really in those percentages, what was the percentage, what were the percentage that were going for food security, what was going to CASP. Regarding the VAT issue, I have obviously been receiving queries about this, and I made sure that this point is listed because a member of the public that referred this matter to me also shared with me an article. And I'm just going to read this article, and maybe I will also send it to you. It states that when a person acts as a true agent on behalf of someone else and incurs expenditure or makes supply on behalf of that principal, the said expenditure or supply is actually that of the principal, not the agent. In this scenario, input VAT with respect to the expenditure is only claimable by the principal, and output VAT is leviable by the principal. From a VAT perspective, it is therefore important to understand the agent or principal concept. So I think the question that that will give me, complete clarity on this one. So am I correct that CASIDRA is not VAT registered, so you don't pay output VAT? However, the principal whom you obviously purchase for the goods can also get can also be able to claim VAT. I just want to be clear around that. But if then is the case, what claimable VAT is there? Because if CASIDRA is not really paying VAT, then you can't claim the VAT. So I think maybe if you can just clarify that one, I'll appreciate. That's it from my side, CEO and DDG. Thank you very much. I hand over back to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. I know that Dr. du Plessis is well armed and is supported by the CFO, Mr. Fred van Zyl, and his team. So can I hand back to you, Keith?
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you for the questions, everybody. I see there's still a hand.
Apologies, CEO. I just want to check, Honorable Brinkhays, your hand is still up. Honorable Brinkhays, is your hand still up?
Yeah, that is a legacy, and yeah, thank you. I'll lower it down.
Yep. Over to you, CEO. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, so the first question was around the 4,000 small farmers, and how I didn't get it quite. Is it how they are selected? Chairperson, can I just get and how well they are doing right now? I think that was the question.
Can I try and rephrase it?
Yeah.
I think the honorable member just wanted to know the 4,000 farmers that you said you have supported. The question is, how well are they doing right now? since you have provided them with the support. Honorable Ngondlo, if I am misinterpreting what you really ask, you're welcome to raise your hand.
Chairperson, that was my question. Member Brankes, thank you.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Thank you, Chair. No, that's fine. I think, Chair, the point is both the selection and the monitoring and evaluation of these small farmers happens via the Department of Agriculture. So they would actually do an assessment in terms of how these farms are doing and how these farmers are doing afterwards. So this is not being measured by CACIDRA. We only implement those projects at this stage, and monitoring and evaluation of these projects actually sits with. That is now purely for CASP and the food security projects. Those happens via the Department of Agriculture. Maybe I don't know if Mr. Jacobs wants to add anything, but for now, I think I will leave it at that. That we don't actually monitor these projects afterwards. It's actually done independently, and I know the department spends a lot of money in independent monitoring evaluation of these projects, including the food security projects. Then there was a question around the delay in funds, and what the problem, what is the problem with these projects, and why does it go back so long? So some of these projects, Chairperson, they might be things like water use licenses, environmental clearances. Those things are normally things that delays these projects, and sometimes it's outside the control of us. I know in the last year, there were no approval of projects that doesn't have these things in place. So going forward, you won't see the delay in these projects so much. But then there's also things where there is, for example, labor payments. Now, labor payments is a continuous thing. Now, rather than closing the project for that particular year, the project remains open, and we continue with the labor payments up until that project funds is depleted, and then that project will be closed. So that is just some examples of why projects would open at a particular year and would remain open over a longer period. Then our food gardens assessed before project gets implemented, and after they have been implemented, and again, to answer that through the same answer I've given earlier. Afterwards, there is an independent survey that is and study that's being done by the department, and they actually I know they pay a lot of money to appoint independent companies to actually do feedback on whether these gardens are successful. And then beforehand, yes, there is some training that happens before the food gardens are being implemented, and this is actually being done by the extension officers. In fact, when the application comes through from these enterprises, they will then receive the training before the funding and the equipment or whatever is required at that particular point is delivered to the small farmers. What is your project cost? So typically, we have, as I've mentioned, we've got a project evaluation committee. They will look at what the staff cost would be, what would be the traveling cost, what would be all kinds of the overhead costs on a project, and when we compile our projects, I'm now talking for our program 4 projects. That is a project that we develop ourselves. We will then obviously work in a margin, and we will submit that. Now, so typically an example of that would be a project that we are doing for Cape Nature. For Cape Nature, we're doing projects, and we're doing some fencing projects, and we're also doing some upgrading of the projects in at some of the resorts. And there we have a fee of about 15%, and that fee then also includes some of our costs. So our margin on that particular project is probably around about 6-7% that we actually make profit on that particular project. When it comes to the Department of Agriculture, the work we do for them, we don't charge extra. We get the core funding at the beginning of the year, and we implement, and that is a slide that I've showed you. But when there's extra work, for example, work done on disasters, we would charge the Department of Agriculture a nominal fee of 5%. So that would be that fee would cover our cost to travel to site. If there's people that need to stay over, S&T and those type of things, then that costs are covered, and that was just a sort of an agreement that we've made with the department, so that we don't add more projects and then the costs are not recovered at least. So when we talk about, and that also speaks to your question in terms of full cost recovery mechanism, we want to make sure that when we deliver a project for Cape Nature, for example, that all costs are definitely covered. That includes the cost of the staff that actually works on these projects, that their costs are covered. And if we need to bring in extra work people on a project basis, then that costs are also covered. I hope I've answered Honorable Nkondlo's questions. Then your questions, Chair. What is our relationship with the National Department of Rural Development? At this stage, it is we've got a limited relationship with them, obviously, because should we engage with them, we would necessarily do it through our mother department, which is the Department of Agriculture. And if this is something that we need to explore more, then we will obviously have the discussion with the HOD and obviously also with the DDG to get their support, so that we can then start engaging with that department. Obviously, I like the fact that you say that they have a bigger budget, and we will definitely look at getting our hands on some of those funds to deliver on our mandate. Then Amalingstein, Vaikral, those farms are in the Little Karoo. That is, Amalingstein is in Zawar, just outside Ladysmith, in the Western Cape, not Ladysmith in KZN. And then we also have Vaikral, which is just outside Duiselsdorp, which is then just outside Oudtshoorn. So those farms are in the Little Karoo. So then the question was around the staff, and the staff is actually the workers on those farms. So the workers on those farms are actually employed by CACIDRA. I think there are 2 of them at Amalingstein, if I'm not mistaken, that are actually the Western Cape Department of Agriculture workers. But that is not we're not counting them with in our staff numbers. So there's actually, I think, about 18 staff members at Amalingstein, of which 2 are then of the Western Cape Department of Agriculture, and the 16 is with us. I hope that answers that question. I've spoken about the full cost recovery. Which other areas have we been looking at in getting more income? I've mentioned Cape Nature. Cape Nature, we did it was actually a very nice, fast-moving project. We signed an MOU with Cape Nature in September 2022. I think in March last year, we concluded a service level agreement. And around about October, November last year, we decided that, or we've concluded that we will do it about a 22 million rand project for them, for which they then pay us a fee, and we then implement that project on behalf of Cape Nature in this instance. We also do work for Garden Route District Municipality, a little bit of work. Also do work for Mossel Bay Municipality, which is also small work at this stage. But we believe, as I've mentioned in my presentation, that there is opportunities to assist the municipalities in delivering better on their mandates, and our, I think, flexible systems could allow them to actually deliver better on their mandates. Then the breakdown of food security versus CASP. Chairperson, I think if you allow us, we could potentially, I don't have that numbers on me right now, but if you allow me, we could potentially, unless I can quickly open the, I can quickly ask David Neft if he does have it with him right now. If you allow me, Chair.
Yes, CEO, David Neff, Chairperson, Chief Program Officer at Casidra. So in terms of the food security CASP...
apologies, David.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you mind putting your camera on, please? Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that. See? Okay. Right, Chairperson, let me start again. So in terms of the food security CASP comparison, it's important to note, I've just went to our corporate plan of our annual report just to look at the numbers. And just in terms of numbers, it's about 1% if you just take the number of projects. But in terms of the values, the type of support that a food security project. So last year we talked about 9,700 that they receive from Casidra. As the CEO said earlier, it's about 200,000 maximum for a food security project, whilst the support that we give to CASP projects will range much bigger for the smallholder farmers than the food security. Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson?
Yes, you can proceed, CEO.
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. Okay, so then I think there was a final question around VAT. I think it's important to understand yet, Chairperson, this was the issue that created numerous amounts of heartache and headache for both the Department of Agriculture and for us. We are not the agent of the department. I think that should be very clear. We are not an agent. When the money is transferred to us, when the funding is transferred to Casidra, it gets transferred into a bank account, and that funding does not carry VAT. As soon as we purchase an asset, Casidra pays VAT on that asset. So we pay the VAT on the tractor, and then, but what then happens is that once the asset is transferred to the client, we give him a what do we call it, a asset, I misplaced the word now. We provide him with a, Chairperson, let me just find that word again, with a VAT agency statement, and then he can then go and claim VAT back on that particular. So that's a benefit that he then gets from actually getting the asset transferred to him. I think that is how we want to. But we are not an agent of the department. I think that's very important to understand. Yeah, so we are registered for VAT as an organization, as Casidra. We pay VAT and we can claim VAT. So that is important also to understand. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, if you'll allow me just to come in, just on two of the questions that relate to the support to farmers. And again, good afternoon. I'm Daryl Jacobs from the department. And the CEO has spoken to the fact that we do a comprehensive independent evaluation of our support to farmers, especially in relation to post-settlement support. We did flag that as in our presentation that we did in our first session with the standing committee. I think we'll be happy to expand a lot more on that and focus on that, except to say that at this point, the results indicate in terms of our support to farmers and the success in relation to post-settlement support, we've tracking some 39 indicators. We have about an 83% success rate in terms of the support that's provided and the level of success of those farmers. So that's, I think, the first point. I think the second point that was flagged in terms of also food gardens, and we also have done a comprehensive independent evaluation on our support to food security projects. And I think I need to say that there is a process both when anybody applies for a food garden. It's not just considered willy-nilly. There's a detailed process that gets followed. Then there's a food security commodity committee that sits down, looks at the motivation that is submitted before there's agreement on the support that is provided. And even once the project is implemented in a particular household, our extension officers are required to monitor consistently. And as part of our evaluation, we would, as a matter of course, go back a year later as well, just to track the level of progress. So we don't, when we talk about our food garden support, it's got to be sustainable, and it's as sustainable as what we can make it with the support of our extension officers, with the support of the project management entity, namely CASIDRA. And I think on the whole, and it would be supported by our evaluation that was done. It shows that we are at least keeping a handle on our food security projects. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, DDG. Honorable members, those were the answers from the CO and the DDG. Are there follow-up questions? I see no hands. So honorable members are satisfied with the presentation, and I just want to do a quick follow-up, and I rest on this issue. And I think it is the issue of why would a place like Beaufort West not have received, support, especially when it comes to food security programs, as it was highlighted that hunger is a problem in that particular area. Really, CO or DDG can maybe assist me on that question. And I think what we might really ask from you, CO, is maybe to really break down your projects that you are supporting across the province, as you have broken them down in percentages. Maybe, just provide us a list so that we as members, we can also, go and conduct oversight on those projects, just to see the support level that they have been provided, especially the food security ones. Thanks, CO, if you can come in on the Beaufort West.
Thank you, Chair. I think, I don't know, the DDG can also maybe add, but I think it's at this stage, it's probably as simple as the amount of applications that comes from that area is probably not sufficient. And I think maybe we could potentially work maybe a bit harder in ensuring that we bring about more. We tell people more about the fact that they can apply to these or they can submit applications to these opportunities. And I don't think I suspect that and this is purely speculation. I suspect that there's not enough applications coming from that area, Chairperson. So I think maybe there should be maybe a roadshow or something to increase people's awareness of these programs.
If I can come in as well, Chairperson, I think it's a combination of applications, but I think also, obviously, the Central Karoo issue of water is a serious challenge. And for us, it's important that projects are sustainable. We do assist with water tanks and things like that, but I think just on the whole, there is a concern from beneficiaries that there may not be sufficient water, and we also try and discourage use of municipal water. So I do think the water management element does play a role in beneficiaries wanting to apply for this kind of support. But I do think it's, I don't have the breakdown now of extent of or the spread of food security projects. But I mean, I certainly agree with the CEO that we do need to be having more extensive outreach in that area, and that this issue of water surety and security needs to be amplified so that we are able to assist ourselves in a very meaningful way and ensure sustainability in that regard. Thanks, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, DDG. I think it is noted. The issue of water is definitely on the agenda of the provincial cabinet to address it. We'll definitely welcome that. Honourable members, if there are no follow-up questions, I would really like to thank the department. I see Honourable Ngondlo's hand is up.
No, Chair, I think mine can still work in the resolution.
Okay.
So it's okay. Thanks, Chair.
All right. So, honourable members, I was just about to say that just want to really say thank you to the CEO and his delegates, and as well as the DDG for giving us a thorough presentation on the work that is being done by CASIDRA. And we just really want to say thank you very much and keep up the good work there. You are excused if you want to really attend to your own matters. We will be continuing, honourable members, with the resolution and considering the minutes and obviously adopting the draft minutes of the 20th of August. And it looks like we're going to finish very early. Honourable members, I know that it's not been easy, you know, back-to-back meetings and so forth. So today, this portfolio can proudly say that, you know, we have given you much time to really to take out of this discussion or the presentation or the oversight that we have just conducted now on CASIDRA in the department. Honourable
Chairperson, can I just check that we can be excused?
You are welcome to be excused, but the platform is still open.
Thank you very much, Chairperson and members. We really appreciate the opportunity. And goodbye.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, members. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pleasure. Bye-bye. Honourable members, I see the hand of Ngondlo.
Thank you, Chair. Two resolutions for me. One is just to request any of the evaluation reports that CASIDRA referred to on the projects that they said they are implementing. I understand they said such is done by the department, so I'm not sure whether we'll have to request that through the department. That's the one. The second one is that I'm just interested in the projects that they're doing, I think, with the other, I think it's 2 municipalities. If they can just provide us, you know, just some information, a summary about those projects, but also the LED strategies of those particular municipalities that they're in partnership with. Those are the two for me.
Thank you. You noted them, Shireen?
I did, Chairperson.
Okay. Any other resolution, colleagues? I think really from my side, procedural officer is just the information regarding the food security projects, so that members can obviously be able to conduct oversight in their own constituency. I think that will help quite a great deal, so that when we engage here, we engage with a thorough understanding of some of the projects that are being supported and funded by the department. You got that one?
I do, Chairperson. Thank you.
Okay, if that's all, so we can now go to the minutes. Are you able to flat?
There we go, Chairperson. You should be able to see it now.
Okay, I can see you can scroll. The minutes of the meeting of the 20th. Oh, you faster. Can you slow down a little bit?
I'm sorry, Chair.
And the welcome by the chairperson. Yeah, we can go to the next page. An introductory briefing was provided by the Department of Economic Development and Tourism. Skro and Saldanha Bay Industrial Development Zone and Atlantis Special Economic Zone did their presentation, and Westcro as well. Okay, just go down. Okay, on the resolution, it was resolved that Westcro to brief it on the work that they have completed across all districts in the province, with specific reference to the initiatives and support provided to municipalities, particularly in small towns. The briefings to also expand on mechanisms in place to ensure that local products from the Western Cape, whether from rural areas, townships, or cities, are included in the export processes, with specific emphasis on ensuring that emerging businesses are considered and that there is potential to expand the range of products this businesses offer. Does that resolution cover members?
Yes.
Thank you. 4.12, the second resolution was that SALGA to brief it on the small town regeneration program by providing a comprehensive overview of the program. Furthermore, it is proposed that Westcro, along with the Department of Economic Development and Tourism, particularly those involved in enterprise development, be invited to the briefing to ensure a holistic discussion that encompasses both tourism promotion and broader municipal support for small towns. Members, is that the resolution captured correctly?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. The last one, if I'm correct, the Department of Economic Development and Tourism to brief it on the draft legislation reform of the Western Cape Consumer Affairs, Unfair Business Practices 2002, Act 10 of 2002, the draft Western Cape Tourism Bill, and the draft Western Cape Transfer of Administration of the Western Cape Economic Development Partnership Bill, called EDP. Next page. So there's still more. And the Department of Economic Development and Tourism to brief it on the red tape reduction. Oh, sorry. Apologies. Can you go up? I think that was the last sentence, that line that I read.
Where must I go up to, Chair? The committee
Yes.
resolved that it would invite.
No, just yeah, that it will invite the 4.1.3. Okay, so it end up with the bills. Okay, so that's I think I made that resolution, so that's fine. We can go to 4.1.4. That the committee invite the Department of Economic Development and Tourism to brief it on the red tape reduction unit with specific reference to the work undertaken by the unit, the nature of red tape reduction efforts, particularly in relation to addressing and unlocking bylaws that are currently constraining informal trading, both informal and informal space. Is that captured correctly, members? Are we happy?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. The last one, I think the committee further resolved that it will extend an invitation to the Standing Committee on Police Oversight, Community Safety, Cultural Affairs and Sport to attend a briefing by the Department of Economic Development and Tourism in consultation with the Department of Police Oversight and Community Safety on the impact of crime on the job creation efforts under the Growth for Jobs strategy, in order to understand how the province is ensuring that the threat of crime does not hinder the job prospects intended to be achieved through the Growth for Job initiative. Is that resolution captured correctly, colleagues? If that's it, so that brings us to the end of the minutes. Any matters arising from the minutes? No hand? Okay, so can I say that we can adopt the minutes? Propose for the adoption of the minutes?
The officials will propose.
Thank you, Honorable Vessel.
I second.
Thank you, Honorable Bryant. This now brings us to the end of our meeting. Colleagues, our next meeting will be, let me say, supposed to be on the procedural officer helped me with the dates. I think it's supposed to be on the 17th. However, we seem to be having NCOP week during that particular week, so we might not have the meeting, but we will communicate once we have received information from the Chief Whip and obviously from the NCOP side. Honorable members, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, members.
Thank you, Procedural Officer, for stunning work.
You are so welcome, Chairperson. My pleasure.
Honorable Ngonzo.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Procedural Officer.
You're welcome, member.
Yeah.
We must work for our money, Chair.
Hey, we are 70 away.
Candace, have we stopped live streaming? Nomfundo?